Okay, I'd like to start this lecture on the use of technology in education by talking about a subject that's probably close to all your hearts, which is the way that student work is graded. And specifically, I want to talk to you about some of the ways written assignments or essays are marked. So it's about ways of grading writing or marking essays,
So,
different methods for grading writing. It's not explaining how, it's presenting different methods. So these are some of the ways. So they're going to lay it out rather than how might be more like what our mental processes are when we're doing it. So it might be more like the psychology of perception and reasoning and so on.
so A is
Um,
right. Okay.
yeah, so A is not quite right, I would say. B is more what they've said they're going to talk about. Well, as you all know, traditionally writing done by a student is checked, marked, and graded by a teacher, a tutor, or in some situations, an examiner, in other words, a real person. So this is a bit of how, but the purpose is not to explain it. It's a starting point. This is how it's usually done. Software to mark essays has been in development for some time, and grading software in computers is already used by some universities to mark exams, but it is still viewed with suspicion by some. How can a computer mark an essay, they ask? Well, a recent study, so this is the research project, compared the human ability to give grades to student essays to the ability of a computer to do the same. In the study, over 16,000 essays were used. These essays had already been previously marked by at least one trained human grader. The study showed that the essay marks given by the computer software were almost the same as those from human graders, which I think you'll agree is a controversial result and is likely to make us as teachers reevaluate how we grade written work. So he's kind of said that there's different ways, there's at least two different ways that writing can be graded. So he's presenting different methods by a human or by a computer. And then the bulk of this is actually describing something that was found in a research project where they used an automated system. So those are the two best answers. He hasn't criticized the technology. He suggested that some people might be critical of it. So when it says that viewed with suspicion by some, he's not saying that I view it with suspicion. That is, the writer is not viewing it with suspicion. And he's not really explaining how we do it. That's not really the purpose of the talk,
Yeah.
even though he does mention how it's typically done.
So I don't,
Yes, so the study showed that the essay marks given by the computer software were almost the same as those from human graders. So that's the findings. No, it's that final bit. But the the research project is explained before that, and then the findings. And I guess because it concludes on this point, and then it talks about the potential consequences of that finding, that seems like the main purpose. He wants to, or she wants to, think about the findings of this research project and then what they mean. Um,
yeah, got it.
so that seems to be the best answer. And even though they say that you'll agree it's a controversial result, the speaker or the author is not themselves saying that I think it's controversial.
To be
She's not.
understand.
She's getting ready to, but I don't think she has. I think she's saying she expects it to be controversial. That is, other people are likely to criticize it. Um, we expect it to be criticized is not the same as saying I'm criticizing it. So it's a classic academic um, maneuver where you say, this is what the literature says, not what I'm saying
Mm, I got
yet.
it. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.